All right, greetings everybody, and welcome to week number 10. That's right, week number 10 of your 7314 class, which is your reference class. As always, I'm your professor, Dr. J.S.K. Alston. And I can't believe we are at week number 10. People told me that my life was going to speed up as I got older, and now that I'm in my 40s, early 40s, but I am in my 40s. But now that I am in my 40s, yeah, I am seeing that time is speeding up. I can't believe we're already at week 10 of a 15-week class. Now, there will be a off week for the Thanksgiving week, so you'll be off that week. But yes, you are in week 10 of a 15-week class, and that's pretty amazing. So we are going to do a state of the course update this week, and then after we do that state of the course update, what we are going to do is I am going to introduce you to two library databases that you can use for persuasive essays or argumentative essays, argumentative speeches, that sort of thing. But they come in handy a lot of times for students who are trying to write position papers, and that can be students in college, but it can also be students in K-12, and it can also just be people in the community for whatever reason. So this is relevant for K-12 librarians, academic librarians, and public librarians. Please stay tuned. And first, let's get to that state of the course update. Let's go. So when it comes to what you have left to do in the class, it is not a whole heck of a lot. You, again, just have a discussion board prompt that's going to be due on November the 17th, and your LibGuide will also be due at that time. By the way, I did have some people tell me that their link did expire, and I have a lot of emails in my inbox. So I'm getting to you all, and I'm going to get to y'all in time. You're going to have time to complete that LibGuide, I do promise. But I've not been able to respond to all of the emails yet, but it is a work in progress, and I'm going to do it because, hey, you do deserve that time to put your LibGuide together, and I'm going to give you plenty of time, again, to do that, and I hope you enjoy it. So your LibGuide and your next discussion board prompt are both going to be due on November the 17th. However, we are coming back together before that. We are actually coming back together next week. So Halloween is Thursday, and we are going to come together on Tuesday of next week, and we are going to hear from the Wolfner Library, and the Wolfner Library is going to talk to us about services for the disabled, reference services for the disabled. Now, Lisa Kincaid, our previous speaker who spoke about this from the Wolfner Library, she is no longer at the Wolfner Library, okay? So we now have the new presenter is named Jamie, and I want you all to just realize, just have some grace, please. Jamie, this will be her first time presenting with us, and I'll just keep it real. The first time is never the best time for these speakers. The first time they're nervous, they're working through their material, all of those things. And so it's never quite the best. Once they get used to doing it, then there's more polish and everything. But expect Jamie to have some growing pains and I don't know, show some grace, engage, reassure her in the chat that, it's interesting, that these are good things to know, because they are good things to know. We want to know how to serve disabled patrons, and this is one thing that's going to help you with that, okay? And it's something that we don't talk about enough, and so that's why I devote a whole night to it. So yeah, with all of that said, yes, please just give her your undivided attention. Again, just interact in the chat, reassure her the same way that in virtual reference you would kind of make sure people knew that you were paying attention by, typing and saying, yeah, one moment or this or that, and just making sure that you stay engaged. Just be engaged with Jamie next Tuesday as well. That's really going to help her do her best. And again, if you hopefully you won't find the presentation boring, but I will say that the first time a presenter presents, sometimes it feels kind of boring because, again, they're working through their material for the first time. Have some grace. There is going to be a time when you are doing your presentation for the first time, okay? If you go to a library conference or something like that, or you do a instruction session for somebody, whatever the case may be, you are going to have your first time in the library as well, okay? And so part of the reason why I want you to show grace is because I want people to show you grace as well. And I am somebody, believe it or not, who believes in karma. I know that people think it's kind of silly to believe in karma because the universe doesn't walk in any way for or against you, but I am somebody who feels that if you put good things out there, you can get some good things back a lot of the times. And so I am hoping that if you show Jamie some grace next week, then when it's your time to have a first time presenting, people will show you that same grace, okay? So yes, we will have that sync session. And the other thing that you need to know of, the other two things you need to know of, is there is also going to be another discussion, a final discussion due on December the 5th. And then you should be working on your semester-long projects, and those are going to be due on December the 9th, okay? If there are any questions about that, please reach out to me. And with that said, that is it for the State of the Course update. So let's look at those two databases, which are Opposing Viewpoints by Context and CQ Researcher. All right, let's do Opposing Viewpoints first. All right, so it should take me about 25 minutes or 20 minutes really to talk about these two databases. So this should be a 25-minute video. That's what I meant to say. This should be about a 25-minute video. It's probably going to take me about 10 minutes to talk about each database, and we're talking about two. And again, these are databases that you can use to build a bibliography quickly for something like an annotated bibliography, or for like a argumentative paper or persuasive speech, those sorts of things. So let's get into it. We're going to start with Opposing Viewpoints, and I'm going to show you why Opposing Viewpoints is so cool. It's actually one of my favorite databases to just get lost in when I'm bored. So first of all, I'm going to be accessing these resources through the Mid-Continent Public Library. And I'm not sure if Mizzou has these or not. Honestly, at one point they didn't have one of them, and so I just started accessing both of them through the public library to save myself some time. And that's probably what I'm doing here. So with that said, yes, let's first go into Opposing Viewpoints, and you can, if we don't have it at Mizzou, then you can, first of all, you all are supposed to be training to be researchers yourselves. So one thing I want you to do, don't just be like, hey, Dr. J.S. is lazy. He could have looked up and seen if we had it at Mizzou or not. Well, also you can do that, and you are going to be a librarian, so I'm expecting you to have that element of curiosity to yourselves. So if you want to know if Mizzou has this, then go ahead and look at Mizzou's selection of databases to see if they have it, and if they have CQ Researcher as well, and then you can also see if your local public library has these things. So I am going to go into Opposing Viewpoints. Actually, I'm going to pause this because it's taking a long time to load. Okay, so now we're in. This is Opposing Viewpoints in Context, and here's what I actually like to do. Now, of course, you can search, and we'll come back into a search, but first let's browse. I actually like browsing this database if you have the time to actually do that. If you browse the issues, and again, by the way, I'm not training you on this database. I know for the past two check-in videos, I have not done database introductions. I've been actually providing context to assignments, first the Wikipedia assignment and then the LibGuides. So now I'm back to providing context to now I'm back to providing an introduction to databases. And so these two databases right here, I'm not actually giving you a tutorial on how to use them. Again, I'm just introducing you to them. And if you want to master them, get practice with them, and then also watch some tutorials online. All right. So when you browse issues, you will come to this, and this is what I love. There are so many issues, all right? And then you can, so they've got topics, and then they've gotten to the point now. They used to not have this little topics drop-down thing, but they've added so many topics now that, I mean, they've added so many issues now that they now have to divide them into topics. So you can use this and divide them into topics. I'm just going to go exploring and see what's up there. For one thing, you will have updated stuff. So whenever you get updates, you'll have a sign for updated here. So we've got updates on endangered species, abortion. Oh Lord, yeah, there are going to be a lot of updates on abortion. Executive power. But then also you can find things that are new. And there is one new one that I see, and that is presidential election of 2024. So you have these various issues, right? And then what you can do is you can go into an issue. So let's say that somebody was trying to do, let's say, I want to do something that's not too controversial. How about marijuana? I like marijuana. Okay, let's do marijuana. Okay. So this is marijuana, and you have this page for marijuana here. And so you get first of all, you get an overview. So when you click on a particular issue from browsing issues, when you click on a particular issue in Opposing Viewpoints, first, what you'll get is sort of an overview essay. And the overview essay is exactly what it is. First of all, this is stable, so it's something that you can actually site, and so that's a good thing. And they don't always have an apparent author, and this one doesn't. It's just yeah, this one doesn't list, actually, let me switch to here. Yeah, it's not listing an apparent author or anything like that. But again, you've got an overview page. It's got some good information in it. And then I also love that this is a feature that was not always here. It was added in recent years. It's the sidebar for the pros and cons, and it's color coded, and I absolutely love it. So you get that overview thing. And again, you get citation tools for the overview. And then also you get your typical buttons here so that you can, if you need to, you can download, print, email, save, put it in the cloud, that sort of thing. You also, if you come up here, you'll get pertinent information related to the length, the Lexile number, which if you don't know what Lexile is, it's related to reading levels for children and how difficult it is to read something. Get date information. This is the topic, overview, document type. But then if you go back, oh, and I actually didn't know you could do this. So you can toggle the reading levels as well. But I would say that, yeah, you're probably going to want to have things on your higher Lexiles if you are dealing with adults or high school students or college students. But maybe as you get younger, then you can go into those lower those lower Lexiles. And then also lower Lexile numbers can be good also for people who have English as a second language and those sorts of things. Okay. So, but let's go back out and let's go to previous page and that overview. Boom, here it is. So the other thing that I want you to do is, this is why I say you can build up a source list really, really quick with this database, because look at what you have here. If somebody is doing a paper on marijuana, they can get so many different source types just by bouncing from this overview page. So you have links here for featured viewpoints, images, news, videos, academic journals, websites, magazines, and stats. You've got a lot of different types of information, and it's divided into information type or document type. So viewpoints are just that. Like if you're wondering, okay, what's viewpoint? Viewpoint is basically an opinionated essay. So you can get a viewpoint essay. Those are usually not very long, usually shorter than 2,000 words. And the other beautiful thing about this, let's say that you wanted to, first of all, again, you get it broken down by source type, and that's good. And then you can also, you get related topics at the bottom, which can be very helpful as well. But what I want to show you all is, let's say that the student did come in and they were told that they had to have at least 3 academic journals. So you could scroll down to whatever source type that they really need to have, and then you can click this, and as you can see, there are 293 returns for academic journals. And so then you can go down and find one that is appropriate. Now, your academic journals, of course, are going to be longer. A viewpoint essay that you saw was about 2,000 words. This is 10,000. So these are going to be longer and higher Lexile numbers as well. Look for the peer review. A lot of times if they have to find journal articles, they're supposed to be, peer reviewed as well. So you'll see peer review here. And once you find something that you like let's say that this was the one that you wanted. Let's say you see this and it comes from a journal that you like, +1, and it came out at a time that was good for you, because let's say the student has to have something that came out in the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. Maybe a lot of times they have to have things that are out within 5 years. This is clearly fitting that category or fitting that criteria. Click this and you've got the full text right there. And so that is so awesome. So you got that full text, and pretty much everything in Opposing Viewpoints is full text. And so it saves you time. Also, you don't have to go into Journal Finder and all those things to try to find your full text. It is right here. So this database is a big deal, okay? And it's something that can make people's lives a lot easier if they are aware of it and aware of when to use it, okay? Explore this. Actually, I'll take just 2 more minutes just to show you just how the search works. So there are going to be things that you won't find a specific issue for. In fact, hold on. Let's say, okay, so to just show you how the browse issue works. So I finally found a issue that can be controversial, but is also an issue that they did not have a entry for in browse issues, and that's going to be hip hop. So let's put hip hop and see what happens. Hip hop and hip hop music topic guide. They have it. It's just not under hip hop. It's rap and hip hop. Okay, I've told y'all the search process isn't linear. Let me try this again. Okay, it's getting late and I can't be up all night doing this. So here, as far as controversy, yes, this is controversial. Dave Chappelle. So I'm going to put Dave Chappelle in here just so you can see how the search works. So if you just do a freeform search, and you might actually have to do also a search for, you saw Chappelle, Dave come up and comedian Dave Chappelle. But if you just put in those two words, it searches for them as keywords, and then you can find the various things. And so if you put in Dave Chappelle, you do actually have a viewpoint essay, Dave Chappelle. First Amendment only safe because of Second Amendment. So, well, I mean, yeah, I'm not getting into that. But then also you do have other things that mention Dave Chappelle. And so this is the way to search if you are not browsing a particular issue and you're just searching. But again, this is to let you know that even if you are dealing with a hot button issue that doesn't have its own issues page, that does not necessarily mean that it's not going to be something that you can't find sources on in this database. You might just have to go through your freeform search. But again, I would start with the browse issues, okay? And then I don't usually get into the topic finder, so I'm not going to go over that. Let's go into CQ Researcher. Okay, so also I need to let you all know that CQ Researcher has actually changed its interface. It changed it actually about a year ago, so I'm ashamed of myself. I haven't made time to actually do this interface better. So I'm not going to show as much as I used to show because I still have not mastered how they have actually changed this yet, how they changed this interface. But I do know that this interface does, even by looking at the interface, I can tell you that the interface allows for more content to be in here and findable than the old way. It's just that I haven't figured out how to navigate it yet, to be honest with you. But CQ Researcher is another thing that you can browse hot button issues and explore pros and cons and things like that. And in fact, that is really what I really like CQ Researcher for, is the pro-con aspect. So we're gonna avoid abortion because that's what we need to avoid. Let's find something else. Let's do marijuana again. All right, so marijuana legalization. So what you can find are, if you select pro-con specifically, you can get in here and you will be taken specifically to pro-con questions. Or pro-con questions, but pro-con stuff that deals with the pros and cons of the issue, basically, right? And then you can click it, and this is an essay that is going to support one side or the other. Hold on. Okay, and I'll be honest with you, because I did get kind of derailed by that. This is why I don't like the way they've changed this, and I really need to watch a video myself. So when I clicked the pro-con, it actually took me back into a report, and I really didn't want to go into a report because the report has everything. So what I want you all to know is that when you access an actual report, in this in particular, let's see what report I accessed. All right, so I was going into marijuana legalization, and okay, I went into that. So an e-cigarette issue. Let's do this one. Should Congress repeal the federal ban on abortion? So this also brings me back to a report, and reports have a lot in them. But as you can see, first of all, you've got the table of contents. So you get, just like with opposing viewpoints and context, you get that introduction, overview. You do get to a pro-con section within a report. So you can click that and be brought down there, and then you can populate these. You get this, you get a particular pro essay and a particular con essay. So there you go with those. And then you have other helpful information, timelines, and things like that. But here's where I really think CQ Researcher shines, and this is where, even with me not having yet actually used a tutorial to really master how this database is now, I can still tell you about this, and this is one of the things that CQ Researcher is really, really good about. First of all, by the way, I do want you all to know that the reports here, whereas you saw that there were like overview pages that were not specifically authored by somebody with a name that you could identify within opposing viewpoints. You actually do have that here. You've got Tom Price here. This was published by CQ Press 2023. So it was one of their own people, but yes, you actually have an author with a byline here, okay? And again, so you can scroll down, but where this really shines, I think, is that you can really find where, exactly where, because of the footnotes, you can find where they're pulling this information in these reports. You can click it and it will take you right to that source, and then you can click it from there and access that. So as you can imagine, this is also a great way to build a bibliography, okay? So remember that if you're, don't just stop at, okay, the report, I've got the report and now I've got the good information. Go into these reports in CQ Researcher and see what they're citing. Click some of these, if you see some good information, click that footnote and actually go into that source. And you usually have the link right there. Go into that source and find out more of what's being written and see if you can actually then turn around and use that source as a source for what you're doing, because this is something that the people at CQ Researcher are actually citing. So it's possibly something that you want to cite as well. And again, you have, if I go back out here, again, you can kind of, you've got topics, you've got hot topics. Oh, I was about to say, why are they all 2023? But now I'm seeing, okay, 2024. You've got things that are upcoming. So these are things that they're going to update soon. It looks like this presidential power is about to get a really good update this week. And then you also have this freeform search, which works like the freeform search in, similar to the one in opposing viewpoints. I'm going to go ahead and now, no data. Well, come on, hip hop is pretty. It's 50 years old now. Come on, give me something. Okay, so there is data debating hip hop. Come on now. Yeah, does gangster rap harm Black Americans? Yeah, 2007. We are past that discussion at this point. So yes, that is 2007 as appropriately it should be. Okay. So with that said, if you want to learn more about these databases, I'm going to go ahead and leave it there now and allow you, if you want to learn more about CQ Researcher 2, to go ahead and find some tutorials, play around with it, that sort of thing. Contact your public library. If these are not available through Mizzou, contact your public library and ask them if they have these, and so forth and so on. So do that. But then also, yes, mainly the big thing is to make sure that your local public library has it, okay? And if they, well, you can call them and ask them, but just make sure they have it. And then if they don't have it, that's the other part that I keep forgetting to tell you all. If they don't have it, a lot of times the librarians are aware of familiar resources that the library does have. So they might say, well, we don't have opposing viewpoints, but we have this. So you can ask about that as well. But just make sure that you are aware of what your local public library offers. That is very important to know when you are a librarian. And I will leave it there. So I am Dr. Jason. When you have downtime at your library, go ahead and practice with your databases just in case. You never want to be caught unaware when you need a database, but you forgot how to use it. As you saw, I didn't forget how to use one, but I also was not ready to fully use one when I engaged you all today. And that can be embarrassing, but you definitely don't want that to happen at the desk. So learn and make sure that doesn't happen. Talk to you next week. We'll see you next week, actually, in the sync session.